guys, today I'm here to film the long-awaited and ever controversial Jaclyn Hill Morphe Palette review. In this video, I am going to give a no-nonsense, no bullshit, purely full honest review, demo, tutorial, swatches, etc. of the palette. I'm gonna break down the ingredients and some controversy surrounding it. I'm gonna talk about everything because this palette is weirdly controversial. First and foremost, I want to state, if you have beef with Jaclyn and Morphe and you don't want to hear my opinion on this and your stance isn't going to change regardless, I can't help ya. I'm not going to hate the palette just because people don't like Morphe, and I'm not going to love the palette just because it's Jaclyn. I'm going to review the palette as if it were just some no-name brand that I didn't know. Not to say that Jaclyn didn't put her hard work into this, just to say that that's what I'm going to do. I am not a Morphe affiliate. I bought this palette with my own money. They don't know I exist. I don't have a code. There's absolutely no affiliation with me and Morphe brushes. A lot of people's beef with Morphe is that they're sick of the word. They're sick of the name. They don't want to hear it anymore. They don't want to hear about Morphe. They feel like the products are being pushed at them constantly, which I totally understand. It takes being a smart consumer to be able to wade through all the bullshit and know what you should and shouldn't buy. So if you don't like it, don't buy it. If you think that it looks interesting, get it. If you don't get it. I do understand how irritating it is to constantly be on people's video and they're like, Morphe this, Morphe that, Morphe brushes, Morphe 350, Morphe Jaclyn. I get it. I get it. It does get a little tiring. It does get a little overdone. You're like, any other brands out there? However, in the past, I have purchased Morphe shadows all by myself. I own the Copper Spice, the Bronze Mocha, the 350, and now the Jaclyn palette. I also have some Morphe bronzers and brushes. I don't tend to use the brushes all that much because, again, I like my other brushes a lot. But for me, I don't fall into the hype of the controversy. I don't hate Morphe just because they're Morphe. I get that there's controversy surrounding that they're private labeled and that their ingredients are shitty and that they're liar, etc., etc. I get it. I've seen all the drama videos. I've seen all of the positive videos. I follow all of the people that are affiliated with Morphe, and I also follow people that hate Morphe and everything that they stand for. So I'm well aware of all the different sides, but I'm going to let all of that go for a minute and just review the palette. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything, but in the past I do like Morphe shadows. I think they're good. We're gonna go over some ingredients as well because I've seen people's concern with the fact that the ingredients were mislabeled on the website versus the palette. I find that they are the same. The ones that are listed on the website and the ones that are listed on the side of the box are the same. So I don't know what that was. I kind of missed out on all of that controversy online. But again, everybody was up in arms and pissed off at Morphe and hating them because that's what the internet loves to do. I love Jaclyn Hill. I've been a fan for a long time and I'm so proud of her for this palette. I'm just gonna review it based on the price, based on the quality, based on the swatches. Swatches are kind of a bullshit way of telling if a product's good or not, but I'm also gonna do them because people like to see them. All right, so I'm gonna get into some of the ingredients. I have seen a few little bits and pieces of controversy online of people saying, oh, well, you guys said it was a new formula, but it's not. Now, I may be missing something, but I rewatched Jaclyn's video, and if you guys are going off of what Jaclyn said, she did not mention that it was a new formula. What she did say was that every shade is pressed differently. The way a shadow is pressed is what determines its color payoff and pigmentation. That there were new machines and a new grinding process, and that they grind down the matte pigmentation to make it very creamy. So I have all the ingredients here. This is the Jaclyn palette here. This is the Bronze Mocha and Copper Spice, and then this is the 350. I then compared Makeup Geek shadows and Anastasia shadows as well. I also went onto websites and I looked up the ingredients and I looked up how harmful they are for you, if they're problematic, if they have any issues with them. And from what I'm finding, not really. There is always going to be a dispute about ingredients, but honestly, Makeup Geek shadows, I mean, like PTFE is the second ingredient in a Makeup Geek shadow, which is Teflon. Most of these have a low risk factor, if any, and most of them are from high levels of exposure. Morphe shadows, the first ingredient is talc, second ingredient mica, third ingredient kaolin, and then fourth ingredient dimethicone. From the research that I've done, I typed in all of the ingredients onto websites, I looked at their chemical compounds, I looked at what the risk factor is, and it sort of puts them at low, moderate, and high, and most all of them were at the low risk. Only have negative health benefits if used in heavy amounts, so it's hard to say. I mean, most eyeshadows that we use, I kind of was comparing brands all over the place. It's all chemicals, it's all shit you don't know about, it's all stuff that's in the lotions I have downstairs and shampoos that we put on our head every day, and we don't question those, but we question the Morphe shadows. The Bronze Mocha and Copper Spice, as you can tell, all the ingredients are the same except for one, so they're all the same. The ingredients are literally exactly the same. And then I always thought that Makeup Geek was a talc-free shadow, but then I look on their ingredients list. I know you can't see it, but it's there. It's lower down on the list for sure because it's the first ingredient in Morphe shadows. So I don't know much. I'm not a chemist as far as the pressing process and the price being higher on the Morphe palette. $38 for, what is it, 35 eyeshadows in there? That is a really good deal. I'm gonna do swatch comparisons as well to my other Morphe palettes, so if you guys wanna see kind of how they compare. So here is the palette. I'm sure you've seen it everywhere. Mine came with a little mini insert with the shade names on it. I wanna be able to know what the name is so that when I do tutorials for you guys, I can show you. So where it says this is dedicated to all my loving subscribers, I covered that shit up with the names and some tape, which I think is sweet, but at the same time, because I'm a YouTuber, I need the shit accessible. So I'm gonna swatch by row. I'm gonna go the top row from this side starting over and then just keep going. I'm not gonna dig my finger in. I'm gonna do 1, 2, swirl, and I'm gonna lightly touch my arm. I'm not gonna try to make the swatches look shitty like I've seen some other people do. I've seen people just tap their finger in and do a light swatch and they're like, wow, it's really not pigmented. I'm like, no shit. No shit. Again, swatches are the least helpful way because who's gonna swatch under their eyes? You're gonna use a brush, you're gonna swirl the product, you wanna blend it out. Nobody is going to be using these matte shades as heavily pigmented and swiped on with a finger that I'm doing in a swatch, but people love swatches, so I guess I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna use this little Coastal Scents packing brush that I have here. It doesn't have a name or a number on it, but I like this brush for packing on color. And then in between my swatches, I'm gonna be using the Vera Mona Color Switch. I've seen Stephanie Nicole do it this way in her videos, and I think it's a really smart way to be able to get a brush swatch without having to wash your brush in between each color. These shimmer colors, I don't think I would ever go in without a setting spray, honestly. Not because Morphe shimmers are shitty, but I always use a setting spray. But for the sake of this, I'm gonna swatch without a setting spray. And this is the first row swatched. These look pretty lackluster, but I think on the eyes they're gonna be beautiful. This is the second row. So this is the third row of swatches. And here is the fourth row swatches. You can definitely see a couple of dot swatches, which means these shimmers don't swatch all that well with a brush without setting spray, which I've said 40 times now, so I'm gonna stop talking about it. And that is the fifth row. Now I'm gonna do a couple of swatch comparisons of colors that I deem to be relatively similar. This is the Morphe 35O palette. I'm going to kind of team it up against Jaclyn's palette to see if they feel different, if they swatch different, etc. This shade here, yeah, Jaclyn's palette it's a totally different feeling. And this is Jaclyn's. Color, pigment, everything like that, definitely the same. That's 35O. That's Jaclyn. So both great. I feel like Jaclyn's definitely outperforms the 35O in this. I'm gonna take this matte shade here. I'm going in with Mocha. They feel different when you touch your hand in the pan, that's for sure. They definitely feel different. All right, holy shit, we made it through the swatches. Now on to the tutorial. So I'm gonna start off by dipping into the shade Silk Cream. Now I'm gonna go in with Butter. I'm gonna toss that all throughout the crease. Oh, that blends so nice. That blends beautifully. Like, I feel like that just blended out like a dream. Now I'm gonna go in with the color Jax. Alright, now I'm just gonna buff out the edges with a clean brush. Doesn't look clean, but that's because it's stained. I think I'm gonna mix in some of the color Hunts and the color Chip. I wanna use all the colors. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of Pukey. Taking more of that chip color, just To really deepen up this outer crease. I literally barely had to dip into that color, and this is how pigmented it is. I really want to use the blue shades, but I feel like everyone's gonna be like, ooh. Fuck them, I'm doing it. I'm gonna take my F70, which is my Sigma concealer brush, and I'm going to use a little of the Shape Tape concealer, and I'm gonna sort of cut out my crease a bit so that I can do a bright blue color on my lids, and it's got a nice bright base for it to go on top of. I'm gonna take that same brush and I'm going to spritz it with Fix Plus, and I'm going to dip into the shade Pool Party. Wow. Okay, that's so pretty. I spritzed my brush again, and I'm gonna go in with the shade Twerk. This one definitely doesn't have as much power as Pool Party. I don't know how I feel about that blue shade, honestly. I think it's not my favorite. Patting a little of Pool Party over the edge of the two. So they gradiate. I'm kind of surprised she approved the shade, if I'm being honest. The blue one. It just seems really underperforming compared to the rest of the shadows. So I'm actually gonna take that blue shade and just gradiate it out into the matte shades. For how buttery and soft these shadows are, they really don't have a lot of fallout, to be honest, like hardly at all. I usually get a little nervous doing colors like this after I've done my foundation, but I really haven't had any issues at all. Okay, I'm about to try something that could possibly ruin this entire eye look, or it could look really cool. Is this gonna work? I'm like a little nervous. I don't know. This might totally fuck up everything. I'm switching over to my Sigma bent liner brush because this one is not frayed. It's also not as easy to work with. Looks kind of cool. All right, lashes are on, and now I'm gonna move on to liner, doing the bottom lash line, and then my review. So for my lower lash line, I really want to go for the blue tone. I could certainly take a warmer tone shade and kind of smoke it out, which I probably will do, but I'm going to go in with the LA Girl Glide On Gel Liner in the color Aquatic. My eyeliner face is so cool. What is happening? I'm like blind in my eye. Is this like leaving a film on my eye? I don't know. I'm gonna try the other eye and see, but oh my god, this is so weird. Maybe don't use the LA Girl Glide On Gel Liner. I don't know what's going on right now, but both of my eyes, I feel like I can't see. Like I can certainly see. I can see what's going on right now, but it's like a cloudy haze over my eyes now. It's so weird. I've used this before and I never had an issue. So I'm gonna take this teeny tiny, eensy weensy Precise Lip Line brush, which is the Sigma L06. I'm gonna go in with Pool Party, kind of pack that in the inner corner. I'm gonna go in with Beam, my inner corner. Roxanne and Jack. I'm gonna run that underneath the blue. I'm gonna throw some mascara on my lower lashes. All right, so for my final thoughts and review on the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. If you leave all of the negativity and drama and everything aside, it's a beautiful palette. It blends beautifully. The pigmentation is totally there. I had zero issues with the shadows. The color Twerk, which is this cobalty blue shade, I did have a little trouble getting the full pigmentation out of, but honestly, it still looks fucking awesome. It's a beautiful palette, and I think that if you want it, you should definitely get it. I don't know when it's gonna come back into stock. I know that the first day they sold out in like 45 minutes or something. It was insane, but it certainly will be back. Morphe knows the demand for it, and Jaclyn did a great job creating it. Truly, it's a great palette. I think all the colors swatched pretty well. Again, brush swatch, finger swatch, they mean jack shit to me, because once I put it on my eyes, these colors brush swatched like a bag of dicks. Put it on my eyes, beautiful. Honestly, what I particularly like is that she added these more interesting shadows in here. I think if it were just a warm tone palette, I'd be like over it, screw this palette, done with it. But this is a very universal palette if you ask me. I did not use any of the black, and you can see I got the colors really deep. The deepest shade that I used is this one, which is the color Chip. I think if they had printed the names on the packaging, it'd be 155,000 times better than having to do this stupid crap. But honestly, this is at least good enough for me to be able to see the colors. I really particularly love that pool party color. It's beautiful. I mean, can't you see? It's so beautiful. I love this palette. I'm gonna use the absolute living shit out of it. $38, absolutely worth it in my opinion. You guys may be expecting me to say something negative about it, but I totally understand the backlash. I understand why everyone's all up in arms, because, you know, it gets tiring hearing of the same brand all the time. There are a lot of awesome brands out there. You know I don't talk about Morphe a ton, but I do like them. I think they have good shadows, clearly. I think Jaclyn did an amazing job picking these colors. I think the new pressing technique does make a difference, especially swatching next to the other colors. They feel more, not gritty, but they don't feel as incredibly buttery smooth. And I'm not always a fan of buttery smooth eyeshadows. For example, Urban Decay shadows are super smooth, and I don't like them. They don't perform very well on my eyes. These were not patchy at all. They didn't skip, they didn't drag. In fact, they were better than most shadows in the way that a lot of times when I go into my crease, because I'm getting old, when I go into my crease with these transition-y shades, it'll start to get skippy, and then I have to really dig in there to blend into those skipped areas. And this actually performed better than most shadows I do, because I usually get that skipping with Anastasia's shadows, with Makeup Geek, but that did not happen with this palette. So I'm highly impressed with it. I think it's a beautiful palette. Again, not affiliated with Morphe. I wish I did have a code, because this would be the time. You guys can use anyone's code. You could use the code JACATTACK, which is Jaclyn's code if you want to support her further. Also, I can put like Taylor's code down there. You guys know the Thataylaa. Jordan has a code. Lots of people do. But I love the palette. I'm going to be creating a lot of looks with it. So if you guys did get your hands on it, then you're going to be having some tutorials coming. If you didn't, don't fret. I am sure you'll be able to get it soon. I'm shocked that they didn't up the initial amount, because knowing how popular Jaclyn Hill is and how much people love Morphe shadows and how hyped up this was for like 2 years, you would have thought they would have stocked 1 million palettes, to be honest. Like, they've clearly already sold 200,000 units. If I had created this palette, I would be proud of it. I've certainly bought more expensive, crappier quality palettes in my time. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up so that I know that you guys like it. And if you guys want to see more tutorials with this palette, you don't even have to tell me. You can if you want, but I'm gonna do them regardless. Also, make sure you subscribe, because I am so close to 100,000 subscribers. You guys are getting me there. It's been a good last few weeks, and my channel's finally starting to pick back up where it left off. Also, if you guys would want to, you can follow me on all my other social media sites. They're all Raw Beauty Christy, same as here. I snap a lot, I Instagram story a lot, and I tweet a lot more than any of those. Twitter is my place. If I got something to say, it goes on Twitter. So if you guys want to hear the beef about everything, that's on Twitter. And I don't really hold back over there. And sometimes I'm kind of funny over there too. So. All right, I thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you at my next video. Bye! Hey guys, today I'm here to do the Hey guys, today I am here to film the I am not an I seen Stephanie Nicole. Wow, that's a beautiful swatch. Oh, come on, you bitch. Come on, you fucking camera. Literally have one job. Sick of people naming brown colors mocha. Final row. It's the frickin' final row. Literally hate doing swatches. It's like my least favorite thing ever. Oh, that was the worst swatch I've ever done. Ooh. 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 Then I'm gonna think,